I pulled into the driveway at exactly 4:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, exhausted from the 6-hour drive back from my sister's place in Pennsylvania. Helen had spent the past 2 weeks there recovering from her knee replacement surgery, and I'd stayed with her the entire time. My sister Patricia had been incredible, setting up the guest room with everything Helen needed, but we were both ready to be home. As I helped Helen out of the car, favoring her good leg, I noticed something odd. The living room curtains were drawn. We never closed those curtains during the day. Helen noticed too. "Did we leave those closed?" she asked, gripping my arm for support. "I don't think so." I got Helen settled on the front porch with her walker while I grabbed our bags. That's when I saw it. A realtor's lockbox hanging on our front door handle. My stomach dropped. "What the hell is that?" Helen's voice was sharp with alarm. I fumbled with my keys, my hands suddenly shaking. The key turned, but something felt wrong. The lock had been changed. Thankfully, whoever did it had been stupid enough to leave the deadbolt alone, and my deadbolt key still worked. The house smelled stale, like it had been closed up. Mail was piled on the entry table, 2 weeks' worth, even though I'd asked our son Marcus to collect it. But that wasn't what made my blood run cold. On our kitchen counter sat a stack of real estate documents. I recognized the letterhead of Marcus and Amber's realtor, the same woman who'd helped them buy their house 3 years ago. I flipped through the papers with trembling hands. Listing agreement. Seller disclosures. Comparative market analysis. For our house. Signed with my name in handwriting that wasn't mine. "Robert?" Helen's voice came from the doorway. She'd managed to navigate inside with her walker. "What is that?" I couldn't answer. I was staring at the signature on the listing agreement. It was dated 5 days ago, while we were in Pennsylvania, while Helen was still using a walker to get to the bathroom. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me press accept. "Is this Robert Mitchell?" A woman's voice, professional but concerned. "Yes. This is Amanda Chen from First National Bank's fraud department. We've been trying to reach you for 3 days. We have some suspicious activity on your accounts that requires immediate attention." "What kind of activity?" "Multiple large withdrawals over the past 2 weeks. A total of $127,000 from your retirement account and $113,000 from your savings. The transactions were authorized using your power of attorney documentation, but given the amounts and frequency, we wanted to verify." The phone slipped from my hand. $240,000. Our entire retirement savings. Gone. Helen grabbed the counter, her face white. "Robert, what?" "Marcus." The name came out like a curse. Marcus did this. I called him immediately. It went to voicemail. I called Amber. Voicemail. I called their house phone, a number I wasn't even sure they still used. Nothing. My hands were steadier now, the initial shock crystallizing into something colder, harder. I'm a retired mechanical engineer. I spent 40 years designing systems, identifying failures, implementing solutions. I know how to analyze a problem. I called the bank back. "Mrs. Chen, this is Robert Mitchell. I did not authorize those withdrawals. Someone has stolen my identity." "I'm very sorry to hear that, Mr. Mitchell. Can you come to the branch tomorrow morning? We'll need you to file a formal fraud claim and provide documentation." "I'll be there at 9. Next, I called the police. The dispatcher said an officer would be by within the hour to take a report. Then I called Patricia. "Patty, I need you to tell me exactly what Marcus said when he called you." "Robert, is everything okay? Just please, tell me exactly what he said." There was a pause. "He called on the 3rd day you were here. He said he was checking on Helen, asked how the recovery was going. He seemed concerned, asked if you needed anything." Her voice changed. "Why? What's happened?" "Did he ask how long we'd be staying?" "Yes. He said he'd been by the house to water your plants and get the mail, and he wanted to know when to stop." "Robert, you're scaring me." He forged my signature on real estate documents. He emptied our bank accounts using a fake power of attorney. $240,000. Patty. The silence on the other end was absolute. "That's not possible," she finally said. "Marcus wouldn't." "Robert, are you sure?" I'm looking at the documents right now. By the time Officer Janet Reynolds arrived, I had everything organized on the dining room table. The real estate documents, bank statements I'd pulled from our file cabinet showing our balances from a month ago. The timeline of our trip to Pennsylvania. Officer Reynolds was in her early 40s, with sharp eyes that took in everything. She spent 20 minutes going through the documents, taking photos, asking questions. Mr. Mitchell, I'm going to be straight with you. This is a serious case. Identity theft, forgery, financial exploitation of the elderly. We're not elderly, Helen interrupted from the couch, her voice icy. Officer Reynolds looked at her, then back at me. You're over 60, which makes this a Class B felony in this state. Your son could be looking at significant prison time if convicted. Good, Helen said. Officer Reynolds continued. The realtor's lockbox suggests they were already showing the house. Do you have any idea how they got your personal information to create a fake power of attorney? I did. 2 years ago, I'd created a legitimate power of attorney document as part of our estate planning, just in case. Helen and I had each designated Marcus as our attorney. In fact, if we became incapacitated, the document was in our safe. I checked. The safe was open. Not broken into, opened with the combination. The original POA was gone, but I had copies in our file cabinet. Marcus had taken the original and somehow modified it, or created a new one using the original as a template. He had the combination to our safe, I told Officer Reynolds. We gave it to him years ago, in case of emergencies. She wrote that down. And your wife was genuinely incapacitated during this time? I had major surgery, Helen said. But I wasn't incapacitated. I was recovering. There's a difference. But you were out of state, unable to manage your own affairs temporarily, Officer Reynolds said gently. That's what they'll argue, that the POA was legitimately activated. Except we never authorized any of this, I said. The POA specifically states it can only be used for specific purposes related to our care, not to sell our house or empty our accounts. Officer Reynolds nodded. I'm going to be honest with you. These cases are complicated. Family members often have legitimate access to accounts and documents. Proving criminal intent can be difficult. But the amounts here, the deception, the timing, this is strong. I'm going to file this as felony theft and fraud. A detective will contact you within 24 hours. After she left, Helen and I sat in silence. The house felt violated, even though nothing was physically damaged or missing except our financial security and our trust in our only son. Why? Helen finally asked, her voice breaking. We gave him everything. We paid for his college, helped with his wedding, gave them $30,000 for their house down payment. Why would he do this? I didn't have an answer. Not yet. My phone rang. Marcus. Finally. Dad? I saw I had a bunch of missed calls. Is everything okay? How's Mom? His voice was casual, concerned, normal, like he hadn't just destroyed our lives. Where are you, Marcus? At home? Why? What's wrong? I need you to come over. Right now. Dad, it's almost 7. Amber's making dinner. Can it wait until tomorrow? No. It can't. Get over here. Now. There was a pause. Okay. I'll be there in 20 minutes. I used those 20 minutes. I called our lawyer, James Morrison, who'd helped us with our estate planning. Left him a voicemail about an emergency. I photographed every document. I called the realtor whose name was on the documents, got her voicemail too, but left a message saying I had not authorized any listing of my property and any such listing was fraudulent. Then I set up my phone to record. I'm not proud of it, but I needed evidence. Marcus arrived at 7:18. He still had his work badge on. He was a project manager at a tech company downtown. He looked genuinely confused when he walked in. Dad? Mom? What's going on? I pointed to the documents on the table. Explain these. He looked at them. His face didn't change at first, which was somehow worse than any reaction. Then his expression shifted through surprise, confusion, concern, a whole performance. Where did these come from? They were in our kitchen, with your realtor's lockbox on our front door. I don't understand. These are for your house? Why would he picked up the listing agreement and I saw his hand shake slightly? Or maybe he was just a good actor. Marcus, I spoke to the bank today. I know about the withdrawals, all $240,000 of them. The performance dropped. His face went carefully blank. I can explain that. Please do. He sat down, rubbing his face with both hands. Okay. Listen, Amber and we've been having some financial trouble. Her business wasn't doing well, and we had some debt. I saw an investment opportunity. Cryptocurrency. The returns were insane, Dad. 40% in just months. I thought I could borrow the money, double it, and pay you back before you even noticed. Borrow. The word came out flat. I know. I should have asked. But you and Mom were dealing with the surgery, and I didn't want to stress you out. I thought I'd have it all back before you needed it. And the house? His jaw tightened. The investment, it didn't work out the way I thought. The platform shut down. I tried to get the money out, but it's locked. I'm working with their support team, but... So you decided to sell our house without our permission. I was going to tell you. I just needed time. Amber said if we could list it, get it under contract, we could use the equity to get your money back. We weren't actually going to sell it without telling you. We just needed to show we had liquidity. Every word made it worse. Every excuse, every justification. You stole from us, Helen said. While I was recovering from surgery, you stole our entire life savings. I didn't steal it, Mom. I borrowed it. It's different. No, Marcus. It's not different. You forged my signature. You created a fraudulent power of attorney. You emptied our accounts and tried to sell our house. That's not borrowing. That's theft. That's fraud. His face was red now. You don't understand. Amber's family, they've been on us about money. Her parents think I'm a failure because we don't live in a house like theirs. This was supposed to fix everything. I was trying to take care of my family. We're your family, I said quietly. And you destroyed us to impress her parents. That's not... You're making it sound worse than it is. I'll get the money back. I just need time. If you'd just give me a few months... The police have already filed a report. The bank is investigating. Our lawyer will be contacted tomorrow. Marcus stood up so fast the chair fell over. You called the cops? On your own son? Dad, Jesus Christ, do you know what this will do to my career? To my marriage? I could go to jail. You should have thought of that before you committed multiple felonies. I can't believe this. I make one mistake. One mistake? Helen's voice was deadly calm. She'd been quiet, but now she stood, balancing on her walker. You made dozens of choices. Every transaction was a choice. Every signature you forged. Every lie you told. Those weren't mistakes, Marcus. That was a plan. Mom, please. I'll make it right. Just don't let Dad do this. Tell him to drop it. She stared at him like she'd never seen him before. Get out of my house. Mom, get out. After he left, I held Helen while she cried. Not soft tears, but harsh, angry sobs that shook her whole body. We'd raised him. We'd loved him. We'd taught him better than this. At least, we'd thought we had. The next morning, I was at the bank at 8:55 a.m. Amanda Chen was younger than I'd expected, maybe 30, with the kind of sharp competence that made me feel slightly more hopeful. She walked me through the withdrawals. 8 transactions over 11 days. The first one was $15,000 a test, probably. When that went through without issue, the amounts got larger. $25,000, $32,000, $45,000. The last one, 2 days before we came home, was $50,000. The power of attorney he presented looked legitimate at first glance, Amanda said. It had all the right language, notary seal, everything. But when we ran our standard verification protocols, some things didn't add up. The notary's registration number was invalid. The document format didn't match our records of your original POA. That's when I flagged it and tried to reach you. But the money's already gone. Most of it went to something called Crypto Max Premium Trading. Have you heard of it? I hadn't. Amanda pulled up a web page. CryptoMax premium trading looked slick and professional, promises of incredible returns, testimonials from real users, investment packages from $10,000 to $500,000. This is a scam, Amanda said. We've seen it before. They take your money, show fake returns on a dashboard to keep you sending more, then disappear. The platform is registered in the Cayman Islands. Getting money back from these operations is nearly impossible. So Marcus lost our retirement to a scam. Worse, he wasn't scammed. He was part of it. She showed me evidence their fraud team had compiled. Marcus hadn't just invested the money. He was recruiting others. She pulled up his social media. 3 posts about CryptoMax in the past month. Best investment I've ever made. Already seeing 30% returns. Each post had dozens of comments from friends asking for details. He was a scammer scamming others with our stolen money. We're filing a claim with our insurance, but recovery will take time, Amanda said. Months, possibly a year. And there's no guarantee we'll recover the full amount. What do I do in the meantime? Do you have other savings? Family who can help? Helen's sister, Patricia, offered immediately. Whatever you need, she said when I called. But we were 62 and 60. We shouldn't need our families to support us. We'd saved for 40 years for retirement. Detective Mike Sawyer contacted me that afternoon. He was maybe 50, with gray at his temples and the weary eyes of someone who'd seen too much family destruction. I've reviewed Officer Reynolds' report, he said. This is solid. Clear probable cause for charges. But I need to ask, are you sure you want to pursue this? He's your son. He's my son, who stole $240,000 from his disabled mother and tried to sell our house. Detective Sawyer nodded slowly. Fair enough. Here's what happens next. I'll submit the case to the DA's office. They'll review it and decide on charges. Given the amounts and the elder abuse component, they'll likely file felony charges. Theft, forgery, identity theft, possibly fraud. We'll execute a search warrant on his home and devices. If we find evidence of the fake POA creation or more victims from his crypto scheme, additional charges. How long will this take? DA should have a decision in a week or 2. Then we'll arrest him, he'll be arraigned, bail will be set. The process takes time. Months, usually. And what are his chances? Detective Sawyer met my eyes. Of what? Conviction? Very high. The evidence is clear. He'll likely take a plea deal. Might serve 2 to 4 years, depending. 2 to 4 years. My son, in prison. Good, I said. James Morrison, my lawyer, was less optimistic about the money. Criminal restitution will be ordered, he said when we met the next day. But that doesn't mean you'll actually get the money. If he doesn't have it, you can't squeeze blood from a stone. I recommend a civil suit in parallel. We can go after his assets, house, cars, retirement accounts, garnish his wages. It'll take time, but we can recover at least some of what he took. Do it. Robert, I have to tell you, this will destroy his life. Criminal conviction, civil judgment, potential bankruptcy. He'll lose everything. He destroyed our lives first. James nodded. All right. I'll draft the complaint today. Then came the hardest part. Telling people. My brother called. I heard through Patty. Robert, I'm so sorry. Is there anything we can do? Helen's parents, both in their 80s, were devastated. Our grandson, Helen's mother kept saying. Our sweet Marcus. Our friends were split. Some were immediately supportive. Others suggested we were overreacting. He's family, one old friend said. You can't send your own son to prison over money. He didn't steal money, I said. He stole our security, our trust, our future. 2 weeks after I filed the police report, Amber showed up at our door. Alone, she looked terrible. No makeup, sweatpants, hair in a messy bun. Her eyes were red and swollen. Mr. Mitchell, can I please talk to you? Against my better judgment, I let her in. Helen stayed in the bedroom. She'd said she couldn't look at Amber without seeing Marcus. Amber sat on the edge of the couch, twisting her wedding ring. I didn't know, she said. I swear to God, I didn't know what he was doing. The crypto thing, he told me it was his own money. He said he'd been saving. When you called the police, I thought it was a misunderstanding. But then the detective came with a search warrant, and they took Marcus's computer, and I saw, her voice broke. I saw everything. All the bank transfers. The fake POA. The listing agreement. You're saying you had no idea your husband stole $240,000 and tried to sell our house. I knew we were having money problems. My business failed. We had credit card debt, but Marcus said he'd handle it. He always said he'd handle it. She looked up at me. My parents, they do judge us. They think Marcus isn't successful enough. He felt that pressure. I know I put that pressure on him too. But I never wanted this. What do you want, Amber? I want to help. I'll testify. I'll show you everything I found on his computer. There are files, lists of people he was recruiting for the crypto scam, text messages. I'll give you all of it. Why would you do that? Because what he did was wrong. And because she started crying. Because I'm pregnant, 12 weeks. I can't bring a baby into this. I can't be married to someone who would do this to his own parents. I felt like I'd been punched. A grandchild. We were supposed to have a grandchild. I'm filing for divorce, Amber said. I've already moved out, staying with my sister. I just wanted you to know that I'm not on his side. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. After she left, I told Helen. She stared at the wall for a long time. I'm supposed to be happy, she finally said. A grandchild. But all I can think is what kind of father Marcus will be. What he'll teach that child. If he'll steal from them too someday. The DA filed charges 3 weeks after my initial report. 6 felonies, 2 counts of theft, over $100,000. 1 count of forgery, 1 count of identity theft, 1 count of elder abuse, 1 count of fraud. Marcus was arrested at his office. It made the local news. Local man arrested for elderly exploitation scheme. They used his mugshot. He looked smaller somehow, not like my son, but like a stranger. His bail was set at $75,000. His parents-in-law, Amber's family, posted it. I only knew because Detective Sawyer called to warn me. He's out. There's a no-contact order. But be careful. Marcus didn't try to contact us directly. But 2 days after he made bail, someone left a note on our door. Dad, please, I'm begging you, drop the charges. I'll go to prison. I'll lose my job. Amber left me. I've lost everything already. Please don't do this. I threw the note away. He'd violated the no-contact order, which I reported. The preliminary hearing was in October, 3 months after I'd come home and found our lives in ruins. Marcus's lawyer tried to argue the POA was legitimate, that there was no criminal intent, that this was a civil matter between family members. The judge wasn't buying it. The defendant systematically exploited his parents during a vulnerable time, forged legal documents, and defrauded financial institutions. This is clearly criminal. We're moving forward with trial. Marcus's lawyer offered a plea deal through the prosecutor. Plead guilty to 2 felonies, 5 years probation, 1,000 hours community service, full restitution. No prison time? I asked the prosecutor. Not with this deal, no. But the restitution order will follow him for life. If he misses payments, we can revoke probation, and he'll serve the suspended sentence. 6 years. I want him to serve time. Now. Not suspended. The prosecutor, a woman named Lisa Chen, nodded. Then we go to trial. But Mr. Mitchell, trials are unpredictable. A jury might sympathize with him. They might see a desperate son who made bad choices, not a calculating criminal. If we lose, he walks. What would you do? I asked. If it was your son? She was quiet for a moment. I'd want justice, real consequences, but I'd also want certainty. The plea deal guarantees he's a convicted felon. It guarantees restitution. It's not perfect, but it's guaranteed. I talked to Helen. We talked to James Morrison. We talked to Patricia and Helen's parents. In the end, we rejected the plea deal. I need a jury to hear what he did, Helen said. I need 12 strangers to say what he did was wrong. Not just illegal, but wrong. The trial was scheduled for January. Marcus's lawyer tried everything. Argued we had a history of giving Marcus money, so he believed he had implied permission. Brought in a psychologist who testified Marcus was under extreme stress and made poor decisions. Even tried to suggest Helen's surgery had affected her mental capacity, so Marcus was genuinely acting in our best interests. That last one made Helen stand up in court. I had knee surgery, not a lobotomy. I could make my own decisions. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on all 6 counts. Marcus's sentencing was in March. The judge had read everything. The victim impact statements Helen and I had written. Letters from Amanda, who'd divorced him by then. Letters from 3 other people Marcus had recruited into the crypto scam, who'd also lost money. Mr. Mitchell, the judge said, looking at Marcus, you didn't just steal money from your parents. You stole their security, their retirement, their trust in their only son. You did this while your mother was recovering from surgery, at her most vulnerable. You showed no remorse, only concern for yourself. You've destroyed your family, your marriage, and the lives of others you recruited into your scheme. Sentence: 8 years in state prison, full restitution of $240,000 plus interest, permanent restraining order from contact with us. 8 years. He'd be 43 when he got out. Helen cried. I didn't. I felt numb, like I'd been feeling since this started. Our son was going to prison. Our son was a felon. Our son had chosen this. The civil suit took longer. James Morrison went after everything. Marcus and Amber's house was sold, though by that point Amber had no legal obligation to help. The divorce was final. We got about $40,000 from that. His 401 was seized. Another $28,000. His car was repossessed and sold. $12,000. Still nowhere near $240,000. The rest will come from wage garnishment after he's released, James said. 25% of his income for the rest of his life. Essentially, you'll get money, slowly. By the time Marcus went to prison, we'd recovered about $95,000 from all sources. The bank's insurance covered another $80,000 after a year-long fight. We were still $65,000 short. Patricia and Helen's parents helped bridge the gap. We downsized from our 4-bedroom house to a 2-bedroom condo. I took a part-time consulting job, even though I'd planned to be fully retired. Helen went back to work as a bookkeeper. We survived. But we weren't the same people. The baby was born in May. A girl. Amber named her Sophie. She sent us one photo, with a note. I know you might not want to hear from me. I know this is all too painful. But I thought you should know she exists. She's innocent in all this. If you ever want to meet her, please let me know. No pressure. Helen cried for 2 days. Then she called Amber. Can we see her? We met Sophie when she was 3 weeks old. She had Marcus's nose, Helen's eyes. She was perfect and innocent and had no idea her father was in prison for what he'd done to us. I'm not asking you to forgive Marcus, Amber said, holding Sophie. I don't know if I'll ever forgive him. But Sophie deserves to know her grandparents, if you want that. We did. God help us, we did. We see Sophie once a month now. Amber's been gracious, never asking us to visit Marcus, never asking us to drop the restitution claims, never suggesting we're being too harsh. Marcus writes sometimes, letters that are forwarded through the prison system. I don't read them. Helen does, though she won't tell me what they say. Do you think we did the right thing? Helen asked me one night, a year after the sentencing. I don't know, I admitted. I know we did the legal thing. I know we protected ourselves. I know we sent a message that you don't get to destroy people just because they're family. But he's still our son. And I don't know if I'll ever stop feeling like I failed him somehow. Like I should have seen this coming. Should have stopped it. He made his choices, Robert. I know. I just wish he'd made different ones. 2 years in now. We've recovered about $130,000 total. We're still working, still rebuilding, still healing. Sophie's learning to walk. She calls me Papa. She doesn't know her daddy is in prison, doesn't know what he did. Someday she'll ask. Someday we'll have to explain. Marcus has 6 years left on his sentence. He'll be eligible for parole in 4. I don't know what happens then. I don't know if he'll try to contact us, if he'll be sorry, If prison will have changed him or hardened him, I don't know if I'll ever be able to look at him and see my son again, or if I'll always see the man who stole our future. What I do know is this: family doesn't give you the right to destroy people. Love doesn't mean accepting abuse. And sometimes, the hardest thing you'll ever do is hold the people you love accountable for the harm they've caused. Would I do it differently if I could go back? I don't know. Some days I think yes, some days I think no. Most days I try not to think about it at all. But when I hold Sophie, when she smiles at me with those innocent eyes, I think maybe something good came from all this pain. Maybe she'll learn from her father's mistakes. Maybe she'll be better than he was. That's what I tell myself anyway. On the hard nights, when Helen can't sleep and I find her crying in the kitchen, when the anger and grief and loss hit us all over again, that's what we hold on to. Sophie, the future, the hope that maybe, just maybe, we broke a cycle instead of perpetuating one. Marcus made his choice. We made ours. And now we all live with the consequences. That's the thing about family. You can love someone with everything you have and still refuse to let them destroy you. You can hold someone accountable and still grieve the person they could have been. You can protect yourself and still hope for redemption, even if you never see it. 8 years is a long time. Long enough to heal, maybe. Long enough to rebuild. Long enough for Sophie to grow up and ask questions we're not ready to answer. But it's not long enough to forget. I don't think anything could be. I returned from Pennsylvania, expecting to find my home the way I left it. Instead, I found our lives had been dismantled by the person we trusted most. And in trying to piece everything back together, we discovered that sometimes the hardest battles aren't against strangers. They're against the people who share your name.